Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. I am taking a quick second because I wanted to come on and talk about dealing with heightened emotions, mainly because there's a lot of heightened emotions going around and a lot of stuff that we are all having to walk through, make decisions about. It's causing a lot of big emotions and a big things that we're having to deal with, whether you're have school-age children and are worried about what your kids are doing for school, whether you've got stressful jobs, health things, anything. It's just a lot going on right now. And so I wanted to give you 3 tips for dealing with heightened emotions because I am what people call an empath. So I have big emotions. I feel really deep. And so emotions are part of my daily life, as they are for most of us. And then on top of that, having 2 toddlers in our house that are very full of emotions and could break down at any second, it's just a lot, right? And so I found myself the other day, so I had gotten this is just a brief example of something that I've done that has really helped. I'm going to give you 3 things. So the other day, I had this really pretty curio cabinet that I'd gotten from this estate sale, and it's been laying in the floor of my dining room for months because I haven't found a place to hang it. I finally figured out where I want to hang it. Long story short, I spent all this time redoing it because it wasn't the color that I wanted, and so I painted it, was very detailed about everything and got it looking so pretty, got it into the house, got it onto the hook, and 2 minutes after we hung it, it fell off. It straightened the nail that it was on. How, I don't know, because it's not that heavy, and crashed on the ground. It had this big pretty molding piece on the bottom of it, broke completely off, and I'll be honest, I literally I yelled a little bit oh no, and then I just had this huge flood of emotions, so I just went to my room, and honestly, this is so silly, but I cried. I cried for maybe a solid 5 minutes because I was just frustrated, and it was just hot outside. I'd spent all this time fixing it. I was excited to hang it up. It's such a dumb problem, but in the moment it just made me so upset. And so I just was I just went to my room. I removed myself from the situation. I had a good cry about it like a baby, and laughed at myself too for crying over something so silly. There's a lot other things going on. But I just had this wave of emotion, just pure anger and frustration. And so I just let it out. And I came out, I was fine. We fixed it, got it up, whatever, rehung it, all the things. But, and Adam even laughed. He was like, wow, I'm really impressed that you just handled that so well. And I was like, well, I decided to just pause and give myself a moment to be really upset about it, and then that wave of emotion passed and I moved on. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys. Every emotion is temporary. Emotions are fleeting. Emotions are not permanent. They are feelings that go away. They come and go. They can come back, but they come and go. They're very temporary. So what I want to tell you to do is, 1, give yourself a moment. So I use this method with the kids a lot, and sometimes things will be going on and I just want to spat off don't do that, stop touching, pick up this mess, or they spill something and I'm going to be why did you do that, and instead what I've really been practicing is counting to 5. That has just been a little trick for me that has been working, and it's just literally. And at the same time, I'm counting, breathing in deep and breathing out deep. And it sounds cliche, kind of dumb, but honest to goodness, it really works. Number 1, it'll slow your heart rate down. So when you have a flood of emotions, typically you have stress responses to that, like sweaty palms, or higher heart rate, or a different patterned breathing, and physiological things that happen when you have a wave of emotion. So taking a moment to just pause, breathe deep, exhale well, it's going to help you just feel a little bit better and calm those physiological responses, calm them down. So you're going to respond nicer. It's going to be easier to handle. So take a moment to breathe. That is a huge one when you're dealing with emotions. And, I've even had to do this when you're seeing things on the news and you're hearing all this crazy information or just whatever. or you're seeing arguments happen, unfold on Facebook comments, like, and it's getting your blood boiling, like whatever it is, take a moment to pause and breathe. It makes a huge difference. Count to 5. That's been the magic number for me. Maybe you need to count to 10, see what works for you. But I've noticed just taking that brief minute to pause before I say anything, before I react, deep breathe in, deep breath out. That is usually about counting to 5. And so that's what I've been doing, and it's been helping tremendously deal with heightened emotions. The next thing I want to tell you to do is to rest. So this isn't something crazy, but resting is very important for our bodies to recharge. And when we're dealing with stress or heightened emotions, sleep patterns can be off. You can be running low on energy, not picking up the right foods, just doing things to get you by and to bring you like quick happiness, and so you have to rest. So even if it's giving yourself 20 minutes to watch like just mindless TV or sit down and read a book, you need to be doing that every day, having that quiet time. And I would say at a minimum 20 minutes, minimum of 20 minutes. Give yourself that time, even if it's to just like go walk around the house, go walk around in the yard for 20 minutes, give yourself 20 minutes. And I will say that adding nature to that regimen is very helpful. It is proven that being out in nature is very relaxing for your body. So I have noticed too, for us, like being in our same element, being around each other all the time, all these things, going outside has been tremendous by myself. Like obviously I'm taking the kids out to let their energy out, but going outside by myself has been very de-stressing. So I'd encourage you, even if it's in the morning, like if you can get the kids situated with breakfast or whatever and go sit outside in the morning when it's not so blazing hot, but being outside, no distractions, just sitting there staring into space for at least 20 minutes will be a huge help in your physiological response to heightened emotions. It's proven time and time again, resting is very, very important. So give yourself at least 20 minutes a day to go outside, sit on your front porch, your back porch, in your yard, walk around, whatever. Or if you can't go outside, just 20 minutes of just mindless activity, okay? The third thing I want you to do when you're having heightened emotions is to write down what you are thinking about. This is a big one because your thoughts are what is enacting emotional response. So if you're having a heightened emotion, you need to write down what you're thinking. So it's nice when you are aware enough in the moment to write down what you're thinking. But even if you're not like able to sit down and like journal right then when you're having like a heightened emotion, you need to be reliving your thought life at least every morning or night. So take a moment to think about what you're thinking about, because it will really trigger some insight as to what's bothering you and the root cause. And that's really what you need to get at, because if you know more of a root cause of why you are feeling so heightened, you can easily diffuse it, address it, think of an opposite positive response to that. So, if you're really upset because you're having a lot of stress from choosing between what to do with your kids with school, for example. I'm just using this because I know this is, in my world on social media, a lot of moms are talking about this and wanting to get feedback, and seeing other moms' feedback is stressing me out because I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Or if they're doing that, maybe I should do that. And so it's causing a lot of that going on, And so I have really been feeling heightened in that, and like emotionally just kind of like worn out, kind of like, cat on edge. And so just journaling that out, it's like, okay, I'm feeling stressed because I'm not sure what I'm doing with the kids next year for school. And so, okay, let me think about that. So what are my options? These are my options. Okay. And you can logically and, more concisely address what it is that's causing you to just feel like, and get down to it. So journaling is huge. So the 3 things you need to do are pause at least for 5 seconds before responding when you have like just a situation that's causing a lot of emotion. You need to have 20 minutes of your day mindless. And third, you need to write down what you're thinking about. Write down all your thoughts, and then you can read them with a different lens as you're intaking what am I thinking about. You'd be like, okay, that's just hogwash, you know, that's silly. I got mad over that. That's dumb. Moving on. Okay, this is really why I'm feeling on edge right now. It's because I'm not sure what I'm doing about this, you know? And so then you can go into more decision-making mindset and really damper down those physiological responses you're having to heightened emotions. Heightened emotions are very much stress driven, and so you just need to look at your circumstances and your environment and see what is going on around you that's causing you to have elevated stress levels, and that's going to be the key indicator of what you need to do. And sometimes it can be as simple as like not having good sleeping patterns and not getting good rest, because we need that. So I know for me, during all this, my whole routines of like going to bed at a certain time and getting up and having my quiet time and getting all these things done before the kids get up have just completely gone out the window. And it's just because we're just perpetually at home, and you know, it's just different. So I'm just really having to get back into the swing of things. So if you are having heightened emotions, these 3 things are going to help you. Pause before responding, 20 minutes of mindless activity a day, and writing down what you're thinking about. Just write it all down. It's much easier to deal with when you can see it on paper. I promise. It'll make a big, big difference. So I hope that helps. Be sure to check out the Thought Vault podcast for last week's episode, all about whole body wellness. It will be a great tie-in to this conversation. And the new episode coming up is all about fear, and I'm excited for that one too. So if you guys have any questions or comments or tips or anything, put them in the comments. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.